I think. Is it saying that it's live now or saying it on mine? So, yeah, well, actually, it's awesome today because our awesome special guest that really matters so much has joined us to talk about Black Pete and hopefully a couple of other things after that. I do apologize for if there's any noises like doors or traffic because it was quite hot here today, so I'm not going to close the window. And I'll probably mute while you talk for a bit, Emu Warrior. So I mean, I did a video about Black Pete um, a little while ago, and I mean, it was sort of like just a simpleton sort of view of Black Pete. But it is certainly an interesting thing because it's not a recent sort of in the last 200 years thing. It's something that's quite been around for a while. But anyway, certainly tell us all about being that you are Dutch and etc.
Yeah, so Black Pete, or Zwarte Piet as we call it, is part of a tradition called Sinterklaas, which is basically where the more Americanized version Santa Claus came from. Um, anyway, it's held in December. Uh, he comes. Basically, we celebrate his birthday on the 5th of December, and he brings presents to children. It's Sinterklaas does that. Um, well, he's an old man, so he can't do that all by himself. But so he has these servants basically called Black Pete. Well, they're basically Spaniards that get black from all the soot they get when they go down chimneys to deliver the presents to the children. Um, now, that's not the whole story. And
Okay, so,
somewhere in
so
the
sorry to cut you off
yeah
right there. Let me just get this right. The actual black Pete, the actual blackness of the person is not a racial thing. Like, I mean, there's I mean, it's implied that they're Spanish, but really, is it much more a fact they're going down chimneys and they're sooty and that's why they're black? Like,
yeah, like there's an entire industry behind this. Like there are movies, series, all that kind of stuff. Um, and I can remember one really clearly, like one of those episodes where Sinterklaas tells another person that well, underneath all the blackness, he's just white, and that's because he goes down the chimney and gets all dirty and stuff. So it's not just implied; it's actually said. It's part of the story. But anyway, so in November, um, this time it was last week Saturday. There's this big entrance where he and his Black Pete's enter the Netherlands. Um, he comes by steamboat. That sounds a bit weird, of course, but this time it was in the city of Gouda, known for its cheese. And right now there's this whole big controversy going on about it. And well, the city of Gouda actually thought it would be a good idea to add different kinds of black peat because people find them offensive or some stuff. So they added cheese peats, which were painted yellow, and another really Dutch thing called stroopwafels. It's some kind of cookie, and they painted the people playing those like the uh, stroopwafels themselves. Now, during this entrance thing, they go around and give candy to children while they walk down the street. Um, and this time they were just giving cheese to children and yeah, well, cookies instead of the more traditional stuff.
yeah, I mean that's one thing that not being from the Netherlands, noticed was yeah, the complaining about this stereotype that was sort of being made is that of all the stereotypes that can be made, it sounds like quite a positive one, if anything. And I mean, it seems like a bit more of a cultural tradition with a proper story behind it, and it's not some sort of like, Santa's some slave master cracking the whip, driving his African slaves or anything. Like, it's actually, like you said, it's chimney, sooty, things like that. It's certainly interesting.
Yeah, well, one of the complaints about the anti-Black Pete people is that he's well, in more a few years ago, he'd still carry a roux, which is like a bundle of twigs, and it was meant to hit bad children. Instead of getting a coal in your sock or something, you get hit with a bundle of sticks, and you get taken in a sack, and you go to Spain. Yeah, yeah, it sounds weird, but that's what it is. But they actually changed the rule thing. Like I don't really know why. It's probably because they believed that it was too harsh on children. But children don't even know what it is. But anyway, apart from that, they say he acts stupid and clownesque stuff like that. But honestly, he doesn't. It's just in recent years he's just being, you know, friendly. Children like Black Pete. Sinterklaas is still a bit of a yeah, someone you respect and you are kind of afraid of as a small child. Well,
Yeah, I
Black
mean,
Pete is just really yeah.
from what I've seen of the public events, I mean, mind you, they're little, soundbite things on the news. Um, it seems like quite a jovial, you know,
Yeah,
happy
yeah,
thing.
that's a good word for it. It
Stuff
is
like
like now what I'm talking about in Gouda was the official, the national entrance basically, but every little town has one of itself. So I have really, really good memories of my own. Uh, yeah,
so, like,
about the whole
okay, so
festival.
like here in Australia, we might have Christmas trees that go up. Like every town will have like a Christmas tree puts up in its town square. Is that a similar thing where you guys do it? You do that instead of like the Christmas tree sort of thing so much?
Well, we do the Christmas tree too, but it certainly is a tradition. It's also really about defining Dutch culture, really, because there's a lot of stuff that's really old, like the candy kind of things. Uh, One of the things we eat basically during that period is called pepernoten. Well, it has the word pepper in it, and that's because in the well our golden age really, so like 300 years ago, we had a lot of spices from those regions, and there would be these candy things made with those spices, and that's where the name and the candy really come from. So it has a lot of different things that remind us of our past.
So it sounds like what it is it's these oppressive oppressive people trying to take away Dutch culture and homogenize Europe into some sort of disgusting one blend of generic Christmas and not because I understand that Black Pete's not something that's found in like Italy or England or something. I mean apparently it is in some parts of Belgium and France, a little bit of Germany as well, but it's more of
Yeah.
like yeah.
Yeah, in Austria they have kind of. In Austria it's kind of weird. They use kind of demon things. It's more a black metal thing there. So anyway, it's well the whole controversy is really it started last year, and it started when a guy called Quincy Gario, I think his name is, uh, really got organized and stuff, and really started promoting things about it, and got arrested. Well, it was his own fault, but anyway, there were a lot of things that really made
So
it
he
very.
became a bit of a martyr after he became arrested. I presume it was like a oh look at the racist intolerant system oppressing us all.
Yeah, it was just what's the right name for it? Disturbing the peace at uh, at uh, at some
Yeah, we have it here.
Sinterklaas festival thing there. So that's why he got arrested. Um, and he kind of exploited that. Later that year, there was a letter sent to the someone from the UN called what's her name again? Farine Shepherd, I think her name was, and some kind of research group. Now, this research group was supposed to be neutral, but they were all, well, basically academia. Their entire career was about talking about slavery and racism and that kind of stuff. They were all black. None of them were Dutch to give any, cultural input or whatever. So that wasn't really neutral at all. And of course, they found it to be racist and it should be changed. And one of the things that really leads me to believe the whole group doesn't, well, haven't hasn't really studied the whole thing is because they say, why does the Netherlands need two Santa Clauses? And that really leads me to believe that they didn't put any effort in it at all.
Like, but in a way, Black Pete seems like a more reasonable thing. I mean, Santa magically going around on, one night, giving gifts to absolutely everyone and anyone he doesn't like. He gives coal. Like, I mean, coal's, can keep you warm. I mean, and if you don't have coal, it's better than no coal. Um, and whereas getting taken to Spain, that's a pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty good disincentive. If I was told that Santa was going to take me to Spain, if I was a bad boy, that's a lot stronger than getting coal. I mean, what's going to dissuade a kid telling him you're going to get coal?
Yeah, it's just I've always liked it a real lot. Like as a kid, it's on the 5th of December. You get these presents. It would usually be put before the door, and then one of your parents bangs the door, and then it's supposed to be Black Pete putting the sack of presents there, something like that. In any way, it's really. I always liked it more than Christmas because we didn't really celebrate Christmas in a way it would be done in the United States or perhaps in Australia, where you get presents and stuff. Like instead of that, we do Santa Claus.
Yeah. So and it's yeah, it sounds like a much more of a cultural thing. Like I said, traditional. It's got reasons and stories to it, and it's not as simple as like someone some presents and wrap them up and
Yeah,
yeah, hand them over.
yeah. Like they use words like blackface to describe the whole thing.
Hang on a second. What is that? What's going on, Carly? Maybe you should do a microphone check. Anyway, see what you're saying. They say about blackface. What? Yeah, they call it blackface. I mean, blackface is a different.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
here in the Netherlands, as far as I know, we never had really minstrel shows. Is that what they're called? So we
Yeah,
didn't really
maybe.
have that whole thing. And well, it's it's kind of weird to hear people taking offense by it because they're not like black people are. They're really black, like, well, like you can have a black shirt or something. It's really pure black.
Well, it comes back to the soot. The whole. Well, it's obviously soot, and you can't get much blacker than soot. And yeah, it's certainly a you know, it seems to be one of those topics that it's just jumped on by people for their own agenda, and this guy's obviously made a bit of a living out of it.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, like one of the reasons I lost my respect for the guy is that eventually he said, "I'm going to stop with all the activism, and I'm gonna draw myself back from it." Like, okay, that's weird, but apparently he now charges 500 euros to speak at events or speak at universities or whatever. He also wants to be, well, his whole traveling needs to be paid, and he wants to have dinner with his business associate or something. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I don't like the guy.
I mean, it's always interesting when you find out those sort of details where it's like, this guy's not doing it for free, man. Like, he's not doing it out of the goodness of his heart because he feels that there's injustice in the world and he's trying to make a difference. Like, no, he's straight up in it for profit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and the worst thing is, it's like 8 to 12% that's against Black Pete in its current form. It wants to change it and remove the black from the Black Pete part. But 90% really wants to let it stay what it is. And when you look at the media, well, not really the news, but these talk programs, these talk shows. When there are four people, they'll invite three people that are against Black Pete, and one guy that is sort of pro Black Pete, like it already is, or doesn't care at all. So they really show you a really twisted version of what
Oh yeah,
the
yeah,
percentages are.
yeah. I mean, I remember. I think it's on a It was an Australian like real public show. It was a Q&A, I think it was, or it might have been Insight. Was it now Q&A? And yeah, it was a Q&A thing, and there was Peter Hitchens. There's Peter Hitchens and there was some raging degenerate dude. And anyway, yeah, and he mentioned that. He mentioned how it was like, there's always, in the media, it's never like, two conservatives and maybe one crazy greenie or something, or like, a greenie, a union person, a pro-business, and like a pro-police or something, or like it's always like this, like, and I know what you mean. I mean, sometimes it's fair. I know what you mean. Like, I mean, that's sort of like how I sort of like, watch something and see it. Like, I see those, this isn't a fair show. Like, I mean, it was a recent thing on from England. I saw a little clip on YouTube, and you can go probably find it where it's a show called Free Speech, and it's about rape and things like. I mean, to totally change the subject, it was about like misogyny and rape culture and stuff like that. And one of the guys mentioned about part of the problem being how there was the grooming gangs and stuff like that, and the big problem over there, and how sometimes people don't do the right thing out of fear of being politically incorrect, like, and I mean, it could be a similar. I mean, to tie it back, it could be a similar thing with Black Pea as well, where it's sort of, there's people that support it, but the only reason why they support it is because they think, oh, that's politically incorrect. We need to get rid of that, because if we don't, Nazis, like, Hitler will come and terrible things will happen. So, like, obviously, yeah. I mean, I understand that you get people like that hijack a subject, and I mean, I don't think Black Pete sounds like someone that doesn't experience it. I don't think it sounds like something that should be changed or anything. I mean, I think it's an interesting thing. I think maybe I mean, I know in Australia there's Dutch people. I mean, I'm surprised that we don't have. Well, I can understand why they don't allow it here, but it's silly that they sort of wouldn't. Like, I think that it's an important thing that people should be allowed to sort of do if they want to. But
Yeah, the weird thing is, like, we have colonies and most of those people are black. And our former colonies and our current colonies, well, except for Indonesia, I think, they all celebrate Sinterklaas. Like, these people are already black, but they make their faces like really, really black. And then this one guy that needs to play Sinterklaas just paints himself white. That's how it goes there. So that's they love it, they like it. Belgium too. In Belgium, this whole thing isn't a problem. They like the tradition. They like the candy, of course. And they're like, well, it's a children's thing. Like, just let the children have fun, and that's something that really went wrong here. Because last week Saturday in Gouda, well, there were protesters, and they did have a permit to protest somewhere off. Well, not inside of the children at least. They made sure they were somewhere safe, but they didn't stay there. They actually went towards the children and the whole festival thing. And 90 people got arrested on both sides. And there are these pictures of just crying children. You know, what's the right name? Riot Police. There was Riot Police. It's just insane. It's really something that shouldn't happen.
Oh, there we go. It was working. Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like it. Yeah, I mean, the only other thing was it's someone that hasn't really been mentioned in. He doesn't get mentioned in Australian politics really only when he comes over, and it's about probably the only um, extent of Dutch politics that people know about. So it might be a good way to sort of give a quick run through of some sort of basic Dutch parties and stuff, because obviously, I mean, I'm talking about Geert Wilders and his I think it's called his Freedom Party or something, is it? Something
Yeah,
like
yeah, Party for
yeah,
Free. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, there's different political climates in different countries. So, like, what's the go? I mean, my understanding is they're not in power or anything. I mean, yeah, without looking it up and quoting Wikipedia or something.
Well, to start with the Party for Freedom. Right now, they're pretty high in the polls. They're well, basically they're liberals with a conservative edge. That's basically what they are. And well, they're noted for being anti-Islam. Um, and well, the whole Black Pete thing right now, it's that his party supports it, and to the extent that they want to make it a law that Black Pete's need to be black. But well, then the other parties. Well, let's start with well, we've got a Labour Party. Right now, they're in the coalition. In the polls, they aren't really popular, but well, they're a Labour Party, so I guess everyone kind of knows what kind of party that is. There's the well, the I forgot the English name for it, but we call it the VVD. Basically, they're liberals, right-wing liberals, and well, they're more centrist, really. Um, there is CDA, the Christian Democrats Peel, something like that. They're basically centrist, a little bit to the left, I believe they call themselves. And well, what they do is just really, really mildly conservative, um, and they try to represent the Christians of the Netherlands, basically. Yeah, and then we have all the little minor parties like oh wait, of course we also have the Socialist Party. They're they're getting pretty high numbers in the polls right now. They're socialists, so I don't think I really gotta explain those. Other really minor parties right now, things like GroenLinks, which are well, it translates to green left. So I guess they're kind of like the Greens in the UK or in Australia. And then there's the SGP, which are I have no idea how to translate that. Wait a sec.
With your Green Party, um,
Yeah.
I mean, it might be a follow-on subject just after this, but what sort? I mean, I'll come back to that actually. I'll ask about that once you finish with that last party for it.
Yeah, I can't really like translate it correctly, but political reformed in like Reformed Protestants party. That's what their name translates to. They're really, really conservative, basically, and well, they are. I'm not sure, but I think they spoke out in favor of Black Pete. But that's about it. They don't really want any laws from it. Basically, all parties right now, except for the Party for Freedom of Geert Wilders, says that they are not going to intervene with the whole Black Pete thing because culture should be from the bottom to the upper layers. Basically, that's how it should flow, and not the other way around.
Oh yeah, the look, I mean, with our Greens Party, they're very socially liberal, and they've almost pretty much got to the point now where they're not really they don't really, in a way, it's almost like they don't care about the environment anymore, and they just are, the extremely progressive party, basically. And by progressive, it's, anti-development, anti-business, anti-everything, basically, just and pro, very socialist and very, just let's just get money and magically give everything to everyone, um, while at the same time locking up areas and not letting anyone use it. But the thing is, like in the Netherlands, like what sort of environmental? I mean, obviously there's the concern of like sea levels and stuff, but I mean, you guys, Netherlands doesn't strike me as a place that has massive nature reserves and things like that. I'm sure you guys have some sort of parks, but like do you, what is a lot of their policies? Is it about protecting nature? Is it just about trying to install green energy more, or is it like actually about like what, rebuilding national area, nature areas or whatever?
Well, basically, they're really in favor of like green energy, so they want to place. I believe they want to place windmills everywhere. I'm not sure about that, but it really sounds something they would do. Um, well, I've read something about that they want quotas in like the European yeah, from the EU actually. They want quotas to make it easier for women to get into top positions and stuff like that. So yeah, they really have the whole progressive thing going on. Um, that's really noticed when you look at their economic things. Like they really want people that earn well just a little bit more than the lowest lower classes basically to pay everything.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. I think it's it's one thing, like as a bit of as an environmentalist in a way myself. I think it's annoying how the other politics of environmentalism gets tied up in it, and in a way, like the so-called Green Party ends up not really, you know, like they're not, that's they end up becoming more than this one issue. They become the socially liberal Green Party. They don't become the Green Party. Like in a way, they're just called the Greens here, and they sort of hijack a lot of the environmental votes. So you got your hippie person that would vote for the Greens simply because they you know they care about nature, and they don't really want, maybe they don't like, maybe they're conservative regarding things like taxation and immigration, and maybe they're small business, things like that. So yeah, it's a I find I found a couple of different countries like that. The Greens Party is very much a socially progressive,
Yeah, yeah. Like we also I forgot to mention them, but we also have a party for it's called Partij voor de Dieren, PvdA. No, PVDD, which means Party for the Animals. And well, their whole environmental thing and their animal rights thing forgoes anything when it comes about taxes or international politics or whatever. They really focus on that one thing, but still are really well. I'd call them progressive and left-winged when talking about economics or social issues. Apart from those two, the well, basically the Greens and the animal people, you got the Party for Freedom that well, they have some environmental things, but it's not really about the climate. It's really about not throwing toxins somewhere or that kind of stuff. And they really aren't fans of windmills. Instead, they want nuclear energy, I think. So that's what you get in Dutch politics.
how very interesting. So well, I mean, I was gonna talk about the G20 a bit and stuff because that finished up. But I mean, that was a week ago. Nothing happened. Putin went a bit early. Um, I mean, there's not really. I mean, apart from the ships being sent here from Russia. I mean, in the end, that was. I mean, that was just a waste of money on Russia's behalf. They just had to pay for them to go back. Didn't really serve any purpose apart from, what, maybe making a couple of people go, oh, Russia's around, like, but in reality, The funny thing was it was actually America that told us about them, and we don't have any submarines on the eastern seaboard at all. So yeah, I mean, if we didn't have the American subs, we wouldn't really be able to do much. But we were able to send like 3 ships to watch them. But anyway, I wasn't planning on this taking really like half an hour or so. But certainly, cheers for turning up. I don't know if Carly, if you're still here. Uh, I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
know.
still.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the only other thing I was sort of going to talk about is Jackie Lambie. Apparently, 1 minute Clive Palmer and her negotiating and working things out. The next minute they're hating each other again. Pauline Hanson still hasn't made her glorious return and triumph to Australian politics. So we'll have to wait and see to see if Jackie Lambie teams up and with Pauline Hanson because well, how many feminists are on their side? That's what I want to know. They are women. All the women, all the feminists should be supporting Pauline Hanson and Jackie Lambie in everything they do, just because they're women. What do you reckon, Carly?
Oh, it's it's ripe for some kind of change. Certainly, if you look at the political climate prior to Pauline Hanson being elected the first time, got a very similar situation with like voter apathy, which I think contributed significantly to that occurring. And I think with the fact that you see organisations like Palmer's Party get seats in a federal election, like in both the upper and lower house, that that's pretty telling of what I think will be the wider situation in the next couple of years at least. There's no credible opposition at all, at any level.
Oh, yeah. No, there's, yeah. Credible opposition just doesn't exist, man. It's just, yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see if, I mean, it'd be good to see. I mean, what is Jackie Lambie going to do? Like she says, she plans on blocking everything. Like, what? She's just going to block everything until she gets a defense pay rise thing. And the thing, what? It's ridiculous. Like, she can do that if she really wants, but she's not going to do herself any favors. And yeah, it's a gamble. Like, I don't see her getting more support because unless she is just taking the whole any publicity is good publicity, even if that is really terrible publicity, which has sort of served her in a way. I mean, her whole fucking big package thing, wanting a man that shut up and had a fucking big pack. What else? She said a couple of things, and like that got her, made her a household name in a way. But we'll have to see. Hopefully, hopefully the sisterhood rises up and replaces our God King Emperor Abbott with a more enlightened path to, the Australian pilgrimage ruling the world in our rightful place, because that's what we were made for. Alrighty, cool. I'm gonna get going because I think that I need to eat. So, thank you very much for turning up, Emu Warrior and Carly. Um, I might get you to turn up next week if you want. Otherwise, I might get someone else to turn up. So, thank you very much. Take care. Enjoy yourself.
Cheers,
Yeah,
guys.
thanks. See you, man.